A Rideshare mission in 2024 that would send many payloads into space on a single rocket has been announced by Gold Coast-based Gilmour Space Technologies, which is scheduled to launch its first payload into low Earth orbit next year. What's more might we anticipate from this developing space company? Keep watching if you don't want to miss out on the latest to learn more about this and other topics in today's video. Inmarsat and Gilmour Space signed a contract earlier this month to assist Australian space launches next year. Gilmour Space plans to launch its first payloads into orbit in North Queensland at the company's Bowen orbital spaceport. The first Ares vehicle will be launched following its first commercial launch. Gilmour Space has now declared that Caravan 1, a specific rideshare mission, will be the company's next endeavor. The rideshare launch is anticipated to deliver a variety of client payloads, including cube seats, microsats, and other tiny spacecraft rather than just one payload. Adam Gilmour, the CEO and founder of SpaceX, claims that this mission will enable affordable access to new space clients wishing to launch into a mid-inclination orbit to the end of 2024. The enhanced Ares Block 2 rocket from Gilmour Space with a 1-ton lift capacity will be used to launch the Caravan 1 mission. According to Gilmour, this represents a considerable improvement in their clients' launch capabilities and capacity. Quote, "The next few years are going to be a very exciting time for the global space industry, and missions like this will allow us to support the Earth to new satellite and in-orbit technologies that could benefit humanity on Earth, in space, and beyond." Gilmour stated, "The Ares rocket from Gilmour Space Technologies will be Australia's first orbital rocket and its first attempt to launch into space from a for-profit Australian launch facility, with the help of Inmarsat's in-range technology, which delivers launch telemetry from space rather than ground stations. Australia will be able to launch satellites into orbit for its recently launched I-6F1 satellite, as well as for the mobile satellite giant's intentions to compete the JP9102 Australian Defence Satellite Communication System project. Inmarsat has already constructed new ground stations in Australia to receive and send satellite signals from orbit. One of Australia's biggest space companies, Gilmour Space Technologies, formed in 2013, received a $15 million contract earlier this year to build and launch a satellite to the Australian Defence Force to conduct sovereign monitoring. In recent times, for years, the company has announced various partnerships with up-and-coming aerospace sector players, including Sydney Space Machines Company, the US-based Momentus, and DEWC Systems, a provider of electronic warfare sensors. Apart from Gilmour rideshare missions, there's a lot to look forward to since Australia's space tech industry is booming. Are you curious to know what else there is? Keep watching to find out. According to one investor, Australia's space technology sector is expanding, with additional startups joining the rank of pioneering firms like Fleet Space and Gilmour Space. According to Troy McCann, CEO of startup acceleration Moonshot Space Co., the recent $61 million Series C financing by Gilmour Space shows that there is a rising amount of optimism in Australia's space business. Because of this excitement in the establishment of the Australian Space Agency, according to McCann, the countries began to realize that space is about more than simply satellites and rockets. It's really about how we're using space for us here on Earth, McCann stated. By 2030, it's projected that the industry will be worth $12 billion. The Australian Space Agency is eager to support emerging technologies in the fields of robotics, sensing, space medicine, and manufacturing. The Australian Space Agency, which was founded by the Department of Industry, Sciences, Energy and Resources in 2018, is making progress towards its long-term 2030 plan. Back in 2002, the strategy moved from Stage 2 to Stage 3, where the emphasis shifted from seizing development opportunities to completed projects and achieving goals. The organization submits reports every 2 years on its objectives, which includes 20,000 new jobs and a tripling of the sector's contribution to the national GDP by $12 billion by 2030. Over the next 10 years, the agency wants to encourage a $1 billion pipeline of inward capital investment in Australia's civil space economy. McCann claims that the organization has been providing large monetary awards to entrepreneurs, such as its Moon to Mars supply chain grants up to $691,000. These coveted grants have so far gone to Spiral Blue, Advanced Navigation, Crystal Aid, and Fleet Space. Even capital under $1 million, according to him, might be beneficial for a firm. Through his accelerator program, entrepreneurs have received as little as $25,000 to $50,000 to develop, construct, and launch test satellites with commercial value. Apart from space exploration and technology, McCann says they're also looking at the idea of space medicine and beyond. McCann asserts that some of the most intriguing businesses are ones that weren't developed regarding space of the beginning. You might run on SaaS business or a startup in data analytics, and you also may happen to help organizations on Earth get space data. According to McCann, can. One illustration is the Sydney-based Arulula, which was established as a streaming service for satellite data. The API platform from Arulula collects geographical data from both free and paid satellites. Businesses with customized streaming solutions. Another burgeoning area of the Australian space industry that gives inventors the chance to conduct experiments in microgravity is space medicine. Several medical-related initiatives are now in progress at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, RMIT, involving research carried out in microgravity chambers constructed within aircraft based on Earth, to develop compression spacesuit technology that shields astronauts from the physical demands of space. Australian business Human Aerospace collaborated with RMIT. These spacesuits' advantages have uses in medicine, including the treatment of burns, lymphedema, osteoporosis, and cerebral palsy. Even though it seems quite futuristic, McCann claims that space medicine is actually becoming fairly popular. In terms of infrastructure development and the creation of novel materials in space environments, more Australian startups are moving into the manufacturing sector. For instance, the startup Spirospace is creating robotic arms for on-orbit maintenance. It recently received a $200,000 supply chain award from the Australian Space Agency, and on August 6, 2021, it gave a presentation at Moonshot Space Company. Because many of their mining technologies are based on remote robots, McCann also claimed that Australia is quite strong in this area. The development of high-quality semiconductors and optical fibers is made simpler by the benefits of the so-called clean room environment that space has to offer because there are no containments, such as dust particles, getting in the way. Startups like Aurora Labs have engaged in this field thanks to these benefits and lower costs of sending 3D printers to space. Since the cost of launching and recovering goods to and from space is falling dramatically, according to McCann, space is the ideal place to do so. Many Australian startups are exploring what other space ventures they could partake, but for Inmarsat, they're focused on the agreement with Gilmour Space Technologies' space launches. With the help of Gilmour Space Technologies, Inmarsat, the leader in worldwide mobile satellite communications, will support launches to space from Australia utilizing its in-range technology. Leading provider of launch services in Australia, Gilmour Space is creating satellite platforms and orbital-class launch vehicles. It's unnecessary to build and maintain expensive terrestrial launch infrastructure of downrange ground stations to maintain telemetry covering thanks to InRange from Inmarsat, which offers quick, responsive, and cost-effective launch telemetry from space. Inmarsat is expanding on its more than 30 years of collaboration and presence in the nation to provide this new capacity. Space launch is the new focus and priority in Australia. For its recently launched I-6F1 satellite, Inmarsat has constructed new ground stations in Australia. The company is also hoping to provide for the JP9102 Australian Defence Satellite Communication System project. A prime illustration of the improvements Inmarsat may provide to support significant government initiatives like JP9112 is the creation and application of InRange. In the expansion of Australia's space capabilities, the potential to support Australia's goals to launch satellites from Australian territory with Gilmour Space Technologies allows Inmarsat to continue expanding its footprint and cooperation, according to Rajiv Suri, CEO of Inmarsat. Inmarsat and Australia have a long and historic partnership by providing telemetry from space and removing the need to fund and build terrestrial-based telemetry solutions that are expensive, slow to deploy, and have limited coverage. Inmarsat InRange can help Australia achieve its goals faster. With Inmarsat InRange, launch services providers from all around the world may achieve their goals. Normally, a new launch provider or sites would have to spend a lot of money and effort developing a ground-based symmetry system to track their rockets during the launch phase. This prevents greater competition in the worldwide launch market and raises significant entry hurdles. In addition, a launch vehicle must always remain in the line of sight to ground station real-time telemetry link from terrestrial tracking systems. No telemetry data on the health of a rocket is available within what is known as a blackout zone, as in the case of rockets placed between two ground stations separated by an ocean. This reliance on ground stations might result in increased operational rigidity, a decrease in payload launch mass, and launch delays. And that's a wrap for today's video about Gilmour Space Technologies ventures, as well as Australia's promising startups. Which of these projects are you most excited about? Let us know in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with the notification bell on for more videos like these. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.